Hi everyone, this is Stan, your favorite Polish Taiwan YouTuber. Hope you're all having a great day. Welcome to today's show. Today let's talk about the Summit for Democracy and Taiwan's participation. During the past year and a half, Taiwan was in the spotlight of international news. We can say that Taiwan's international visibility has constantly been improving. European countries and the United States have adopted many pro-Taiwan policies one after another. More and more democratic nations started promoting exchanges with Taiwan. One of the most recent news, Taiwan was invited to the first online Summit for Democracy hosted by the United States. That will be held on December 9th and 10th. Taiwan is on the list of participants, published on November 23rd. We can say that Taiwan and its democratic development is recognized by many countries, including the United States. The main goals of this summit are to resist the massively spreading authoritarianism, combat corruption, and promote discussions on human rights. So, why did the United States decide to host this Summit for Democracy? It actually is one of the proposals that Joe Biden gave in 2020. He wrote in an article that was published in Foreign Affairs during the first year of his presidency that he'll hold a global democracy summit to renew the spirit and shared purpose of the nations of the free world. The fact that Taiwan was also invited to the Summit for Democracy is also the result of many people's efforts, people that promote and are currently supporting Taiwan's democratic development. This March, the Secretary of State Blinken, during the House hearing on foreign policy priorities of the Biden administration, also promised to invite Taiwan to the Summit for Democracy, and even called Taiwan a strong democracy. In fact, the current state of global democracy is also facing a massive crisis. Last Monday, on November 22nd, International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, IDEA, published its latest report. Many countries are moving towards autocratic systems. In the past 5 years, the number of democratic countries has reduced from 104 to 98. For the first time, the United States has entered the list of backsliding democracies. The report points out that since 2016, the new trend of democratic decline took place. More than a quarter of the world's population lives in countries with backsliding democracy, combined with autocratic and hybrid regimes. It can be said that more than 70% of the population is deprived of full democratic freedoms. Myanmar has slided from democracy to autocracy. Afghanistan is being controlled by terrorists. China and Russia, countries that haven't been invited to the summit, as they're not democracies, but like to pretend that they have their own version of democracy, this time showed some dissatisfaction with the fact that they were not invited. On November 26th, the ambassadors of Russia, Anatoly Antonov, and China, Qin Gang, to the United States published an open letter in the national interest, criticizing the Summit for Democracy for not inviting the two major powers and accusing the United States of arbitrarily defining who is a democratic country and who is not eligible for such status. They also accused the United States of having a Cold War mentality and called on the West to stop using democratic values as an excuse to interfere in the international affairs of other countries. So, the US didn't invite China and Russia. It is actually funny how they're reacting to the fact that they haven't been invited. You're not democracies. Not being invited to the Summit for Democracy doesn't mean that anyone is interfering in your internal affairs. Or you think that the Summit for Democracy is the same Augean staple as the United Nations or the WHO. Hu Xijing, the editor-in-chief of the Global Times, also warned that if the United States invites Taiwan to participate in the summit, it needs to do it as during APEC meetings. Otherwise, the summit will be a serious escalation of the Taiwan issue. China will never allow the United States and Taiwan to cross the line. The actions of the United States and Taiwan will cause a serious storm in the Taiwan Strait. And at the end of the article, he left some even more direct threats, saying that if the United States and Taiwan cross the line, China will send their warplanes to fly over Taiwan, and if the Taiwanese army dares to shoot those warplanes down, then the large number of missiles aimed at Taiwanese targets and humongous number of bomber planes will make a decisive answer and will rewrite history. Well, this is exactly why Taiwan is sending its ambassador to the United States, Bi-khim and its digital minister Audrey Tang to take part in the Summit for Democracy. Constant threats coming from China is one of the reasons why Taiwan's allies offer more support to the island democracy. But the CCP is on the verge of nervous breakdown again. It's very entertaining to observe them actually. And yeah, I hope that President Tsai will personally take part in the Summit for Democracy next time. And well, we can also see Hu Xijing's red line moving back and forth again. In fact, many experts in international relations suggest that the United States should not make China and Russia unite, but rather prevent Russia from moving closer with China. Personally, I also think that Russia might be used by China, as Russia has resources that China lacks, therefore it's better to prevent them from uniting, as it would pose a bigger threat to the free world. And of course, those two regimes shouldn't be allowed to the Summit for Democracy. And since Biden took office, China's aggression towards Taiwan became even more obvious. China is acting even more shameless measureless and arrogant, same as Russia constantly threatening Ukraine. Therefore, it would be even more difficult for the Democrats to solve those foreign policy issues than it was for the Republican administration. As an example, the US recently warned the European Union that Russia might use force against Ukraine in March or April next year. But there actually already has been a similar situation this summer, right before Biden-Putin summit. And we don't know what did the current administration agree to in order to make Russia move their troops away from the Ukrainian border. In addition, the continuous growth of the autocratic regimes has already hindered any kind of progress that could be achieved globally in climate change, world health, nuclear disarmament, global supply chain, and so on. Moreover, the sloppy withdrawal of the US troops from Afghanistan also made the US allies stop doubting the current administration. Therefore, it's a difficult question for the US to solve. How can we unite the democracies to oppose the growth of totalitarian regimes worldwide, protect our values, just as the world democracies did in last century? Another question is, if there is any way of making the Eastern European autocracies like Russia and Belarus democratize, and not let them fall in the hands of growing communist China. So I really hope that this Summit for Democracy will be successful. The free and democratic countries should unite. Don't forget that democracy is fragile, we have to protect it. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please press like, subscribe and share. This is Stan, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye!